So, if you're watching this video, you might know who I am or you might not, but my name is Brayden. I turned 18 exactly 6 months ago, and I buy and sell shoes for a living. And pretty much this whole entire video is just going to be going over my life story and journey as being an 18-year-old living on my own and making 50K a month, all the way back to over almost 2 years ago when I was making 3K a month in high school working a job that I absolutely hated. So, our journey starts really in like February 2024, to be completely 110% honest with you. Around this time, I was still in high school. I was doing online school and I was working. This is pretty much what my day to day looked like. I would come over here and I would roll fucking silverware all fucking day. And like, bro, this shit is not easy. I had to put fucking a knife, two forks, and three of these things, polish them all. And I'm talking about like scrubbing them, like absolutely polishing the fuck out of them and rolling them up in this napkin. And then I had to count them, separate them, organize them by color. Um, it's making like fucking $15 an hour on average, working like 60, 70 hours a week, depending on the week. And I was a slave. I really didn't like my life. So that resorted to me doing something that I'm really not proud of, which was this. I would come home every single day and I would smoke. That's all I would do every single day. I would wake up at 7 a.m. or like 6 a.m., get to my first job, which wasn't this job. It was another job where I would do pretty much the same shit. I'd roll silverware. I was a server. I'd be the one serving people. So then I would go to my second job at like 2, 3, 4 p.m., between like 2 and 5 p.m. I would ever have a little bit of break. Wouldn't even have time to go home. I would roll silverware and I would work my fucking ass off. And then after that, I would go home and I would smoke. And as you can see down here, this was in February 2024. And I was really unhappy. I really had no idea what I was doing. I really had no idea what I was getting into. And I was just in kind of this loop of unhappiness and doing the same bullshit every single day. And if you're watching this video and you're in a similar situation, you're around the same age as me, bro, it does get better and it is possible to get better. It just takes time. It's not going to happen overnight and you have to put in a lot of work and you really have to want it more than the next guy, because if the next guy wants it, they're going to win every single time. So this was me in February 2024. I wasn't even reselling at the time. I was just very, very unhappy with my current life situation. And I was also working and doing school on the side because I was still in high school at the time doing online school for my computer. So this is May right here. This is my first sneaker event. And I didn't start reselling in May, but I accidentally ended up deleting all the pictures that I had in the month that I did start reselling. So this was in February over here, right here. And then in May, this was my first sneaker event, but I actually started reselling, like actually getting into it in April of 2024. And the reason I did is because I saw some dude that when I was younger, I was obviously smoking a lot of weed that I would buy weed off of. And I saw this dude and I was like, damn, this dude just got a nice new Toyota Camry. He got a BMW. And it wasn't even like a crazy expensive BMW, but it was nice. And I was looking at this dude like he was absolutely rich and that he was like literal fucking God to me. So me being 18 years old, having no money, really having nothing going on for myself, what did I do? I fucking copied this dude. And if you're in a similar situation, bro, copy, 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 copy. It works. You'll lose a lot of money at first. You get clowned on, you get hated on. That shit fucking works if you lock in and you do it correctly. And that's not even me bullshitting. That's me being genuinely 110% honest with you guys. So I started reselling April 2024 because I saw this dude that I used to buy weed off who I thought was making a lot of money off of it. And he probably fucking was, to be honest with you guys. So moral of the story, what I did is I went to him and I was like, yo, I have X amount of money. I think I spent like $1,500 to like $2,000 on my first batch of shoes. Bought all these shoes, ended up paying the moon. I was paying like $500 on shoes to go for like $200. I was just paying absolute wax, buying all these used shoes. And moral of the story, I ended up losing all of my money really fast because I still had a shitload of money because I've been working and I was making decent money from my jobs because I was a slave. But I took all this money, $2,000, put it into used shoes, which were probably valued at around $1,000. So within my first week, in this little time gap here between February and May, this little gap right here, I had bought all these shoes and I'd realized, oh shit, I paid double of what I was actually supposed to pay. So I should have paid $1,000. I paid like 2,000 some dollars for all of these shoes. It was like 15 pairs, and I was like, "Fuck, I'm fucked. Like, what am I gonna do now? All these used shoes that I bought, I just paid ridiculously high. I'm like, I don't know what to do." So I did what any normal person would do, and I sat on them for a little while until I realized I got to take a loss. So I took the loss in about the beginning of May, Took the loss, was very unhappy. Is what it is, and I ended up losing a little bit over $1,000. I think I lost like $1,500. And most people after this happened, they would just quit. They would just give up. Like they really wouldn't care to continue. And I was different. And for whatever fucking reason, I just kept on going. I didn't stop buying shoes. I just kept on going. And as you can see here, the next month, this was at like the very, very, very end of the month, the sneaker event. Look at all these shoes. These are all my shoes, like $10,000 worth of shoes. I kept on buying shoes, but I was still, paying ridiculously high on these shoes and really not making much money at all in any way, shape, or form. So kept on buying shoes, kept on paying really high. Went to my first sneaker event, ended up losing a lot of money. Drove 2 hours there, and it was just a complete shit show. I really was stuck. I really had no idea what I was doing. I really had no idea what was like actively going on. I was making like $1,000 and $2,000 a month, and this cycle continued from May of 2024 all the way until August of 2024. So we had about or September. So we had about 4 months, over 100 days, about 120 days, I would say, in this little time gap here between May, and then we had June, and then July, and then September. So this whole entire little time gap. So in June, I kind of figured it out a little bit. I wasn't making money, but I was selling shoes and I was breaking even a lot. And just like you see here, this is what I was selling, bro. None of these are brand new. Like maybe like 2 pairs of these are brand new. These are all just like used bullshit. Like Gatorade sixes. Like who's buying that? Like random donks, foam posits, off whites, Jordan 4s, like Yeezys, Jordan 11s. Like really anything, everything I could get my hands on. I was trying to buy and sell at the time, especially if it was used, because that was what I was, thought I was making money off of. I wasn't tracking everything correctly. So I got my Instagram going. I was selling off of Instagram, and I kept on buying and buying shoes, and I would sell them. But as you can see, bro, it's like singles. Like I would have random resellers cop like 1 to 3 pairs at once, and it's just like no bulk, no wholesale, no nothing like that. I was just shipping out like really small quantity to like a lot of different people over the course of like a week. And so this was in June, and as you can see, like I'm shipping out a decent amount of shit, but in reality, every single one of these boxes that's going out, on average, I'm probably making like $10 a pair, if that. And I'm not even selling that much. So I was probably selling like maybe fucking 50 to 100 pairs, making $10 a pair. I was making no more than $1,000 a month in June. And I really felt stuck. I really had no idea what I was doing. I was still working at my job, and I was just very unhappy, to be completely 110% honest with you guys. I really had no idea what I was doing, and I was just in a very unhappy position, and I was still, kind of in this state over here, just smoking, bro. It's all I would do every single day because I was just so unbelievably happy. And then we have July right here. So this is my first big bulk purchase. This dude that I met locally who made a lot more money than me was selling a lot of used shoes. He had all of these random Nike shoes, and like if you look, bro, dude, it's just Nike running shoes and like random ASIC running shoes, like really, really cheap shoes. Moral of the story, it was about 122 pairs. I bought all these pairs, loaded up my car, and I paid about $20 a pair. So I pull up on this dude, fucking buy them. I didn't even know what the fuck I was gonna do with them. I just bought them, and this was in July. Bought all these shoes. I had no room to store them at my house, so this is my buddy's garage right here. I pull up to his crib, and I'm like, yo, let me store these in your house. I'll give you some cheese. I give you some money, brother. And that's what I did. I stored them in his house. And this specific buy completely changed everything for me. It was absolutely generational because I went on to make about $2,000 profit. I was making about $20 a pair on all of these shoes, and I sold a little bit over 100 of them. So I made about $2,000 profit after ship, selling them on eBay, and I wholesaled a little bit of them. And this was like the first time that like I'd ever really gotten to bulk in any way, shape, or form. And it was very crazy to me, and it was very surreal, and it was very eye-opening. But the issue was is like stuff like this like just doesn't, spawn out of thin air. Like it's very, very, very rare to see something like this for a profitable price, which by the way, I would not pay that high on this shit again. Like I paid less than 20, 110%. It's a bunch of shit. But market was different a year ago. So I ended up buying all this shit, was super happy, but it was no consistency. Like I couldn't do this again. Like this was a one-off, one-time thing, and I really didn't know what to do. So we fast forward into September. This is where everything fucking changes. This is where my entire business changed, and I had completely transitioned into wholesale. So In September, I had joined a reseller mentorship. I got on the phone with this dude. He's like, yeah, bro, I make $30,000 a month reselling shoes. I'm going to teach you how I do it. Send me a few $1,000s. Before you know it, I sent this dude a few $1,000s and I was fucking locked in. I was ready to fucking go. I was taking this shit serious as fuck. I wanted to win so unbelievably bad. And that was the start of everything. That was the day that my life completely changed. I was sitting in my bed in my grandma's room, and I remember I was sitting there. I was on the phone with this dude, and I was like, "Can you do any cheaper?" And he literally just closed me. I just sent him the money. I didn't even hesitate. I was a little bit scared, but I just paid him on the fucking spot. I just locked in, and the rest is history. So I joined this program, whatever. It was pretty good. It wasn't bad at all in any way, shape, or form. I contribute my first 10K a month to this program, and they put me on to wholesale. They taught me everything I needed to know about it, and I pretty much just started buying shit. I pretty much just started buying cheap product, like some Asics, some Dunks, and as you can see here, like I'm holding the UNC Dunks here. So bought these shoes or whatever, made like $5-10 a pair, sold them all really fast. But I was building social proof. I was getting my name out there, and I was kind of starting to figure it out. So we fast forward into Q4 of 2024, and I don't have a lot of pictures left, if I'm being honest with you guys, but I'm going to explain everything in as specific detail as I can, as humanly possible. So this was in Q4. This was right after September. This was my first really, really big bulk shipment. This is my next really, really big bulk shipment. And what I'm about to tell you guys next, I'm going to break up like how much profit I was actually making and how exactly I did it. So in September, my first month wholesaling, we zoom back in down here. September, I made $2,000 profit. So this was my best reselling month ever. Made $2,000 profit just from reselling. Yeah, wholesaling these cheap fucking Dunks and all these random shoes right here. Made $2,000 profit, was on top of the fucking world. And then October rolls around, and October is when I start to get some motion. This picture right here, this was like my first big bulk order. As you can see, I'm shipping out 11 boxes, bro. I'm on the fucking moon, driving my grandma's car to fucking UPS and shit, bro. I was so happy. Very, very surreal. Very happy. But in October, I made 4K, made $4,000, and at that point in time, I was like, holy shit, I'm making as much as my job, as much as my 9 to 5. Because guys, what you guys don't realize is I was still working. I was still waking up every single fucking day at like 6 a.m. to go drive 30 minutes to a bullshit ass serving job that I fucking hated and long ass fucking traffic. And I wish I was making this up, but I was miserable. I absolutely hated my life. I would wake up at 6, excuse me, I would wake up at 6 a.m. I would drive to work. Once I got to work, I would work there for 8 hours. Then I would come home and I would do this. I would work in my reselling business. I would pack orders, and it was just very, very, very surreal. The shipment was from the very end of October too. I kind of started to figure it out. So I made 4K in October. I was on top of the moon. November rolls around, and what I'm about to tell you guys next is very fucked. It wasn't supposed to happen this way, but I'll explain how I did it. So we went from 2K in September to 4K in October, and then in November we went to 20K profit. But it wasn't as good as it might seem. So we did 20K profit. We 5x'd our business in less than 30 days. But the issue is I had a loop. I was pretty much buying shoes for $50 and selling them for $150. And I did that like 200 times. So it was very unreal. It's very uncommon. And if you're a reseller in this industry, you can relate to that because you know how rare that is and how uncommon it is to make $100 on 200 pairs of shoes. Like, fuck yes. Like, bro, I would do that every single day of the week. But that shit just really doesn't come up very often. And that shit really just doesn't happen, if I'm being 110% honest with you. And honestly, if I'm being honest with you guys, all the shoes that I was shipping in these boxes, that is exactly what it was. Absolutely demon of a loop. 10 out of 10. It was phenomenal. It was absolutely fucking awesome. And I was absolutely on top of the world. So did that, sold all these shoes, made 20K. The issue is right at the end of November, my loop died. It stopped working. I stopped getting access to these profitable pairs. So I went from 2K to 4K all the way to 20K. And then in December, the best month of the year, bro, we went down to a 4K profit month. So how does that work? How do I go 2K, 4K, 20K down to 4K? And it's one simple thing. There was no repeatability and there was no consistency. And I was literally just relying on a loop that, like I said, like I couldn't repeat. I couldn't do this over every single month. If I could do that over every single month, cool. That's fucking like fucking 300K a year as is, but it's just simply not repeatable, and it's not realistic, and it's literally just not going to happen in any way, shape, or form. And I'm sorry to regret if that's like what you genuinely think is going to happen, because it's not, brother. It's just not. So I was very upset. I was very stressed out because there was no consistency, there was no repeatability, and I really had no idea what I was fucking doing. It's just I dug a little bit and I struck gold, but then I ran out of the gold and I started to hit fucking silver again, and I was just getting fucked upon. So that happened, and I'm gonna kind of speed run through the rest just because I don't want to make this video crazy long. But pretty much what happens after that is January rolls around. It's just January rolls around. We did our first 10K profit month. I kind of started to figure it out a little bit, and I kind of started to figure out how exactly to make a little bit more money reselling actual wholesale B2B. So we sold about 900 pairs of shoes in January, which netted us a total of $10,000 profit. I count that as my first like real 10K month because I can't really count the other month as a 10K month, just purely because the fact I was relying on a loop, and I really don't like to have to rely on that. So made our first 10K month. January 28th, I remember this day very vividly. I was filling my whole entire grandma's crib, and I mean, if you guys look really fast, hold up. If you guys look really fast, if I shrink down the camera again a little bit, if you look right here, I mean, I'm filling the fucking crib, bro. Like, this is my living room right here. Like, it's little, it's full. And my grandma was absolutely pissed, and she hated every single second of this. So I was doing this, and then after that, I was like, fuck. I need a warehouse is so short. So that's what I did. Went and found a warehouse, hit my first 10K month, January 28th, signed the lease, signed the papers, moved into the warehouse ASAP. And as soon as I got in, bro, it was just go time. It was just literally from there. It was just absolutely fucking crush it from there. January 31st or 30th, I believe, going into February 1st, it was a Friday. I remember this day very vividly because I didn't have any employees. I didn't have any systems in place, and I really still didn't like have any idea what I was doing. So I worked until 3 a.m. that night, and I had to wake up at 6:30 the next morning because I had to open at my job. And moral of the story, I didn't go to that job. So I went home, went to bed around 4 a.m., tired as fuck. And I get a call about 8 a.m. and I pick up the phone and I'm like fucking gone. I'm like, hello, who is this? And they're sitting there talking to me, and I think it's my girlfriend telling me to wake the fuck up. So I'm not waking the fuck off. I'm not waking the fuck up. Fuck off. Hang up the phone, go back to bed. I was absolutely delusional. Wake up 3 hours later at like 12 p.m., 11 a.m., whatever, and I go look at my contacts. I'm scrolling through, and I'm like, oh shit, that was my manager. Well, your boy quit his job on February 1st. And guys, the rest is history. February went on to make about 20K profit, sold about 2,000 shoes. March was even better, 30K profit, sold 3,000 shoes. We were consecutively selling 1,000 more shoes every single month, and we kind of started to figure it out a little bit from there. And then April, we did like 31,000. May, I was able to hit my first $50,000 profit month, and the rest is history, guys. We're now pushing to hit 100K month, and this is kind of what my life looks like a little bit now. This was a bulk shipment that we did where we went to this dude's warehouse in September, I believe. Went there, picked up 2,000 pairs of shoes. This isn't all of them, but it's just a picture of me there. I bought my dream watch in June. This is my boy Jimmy right here. He bought his dad this watch. This is his watch. And I bought this watch on June like 17th, I believe, while we were in Miami, right after I turned 18. Also brought my dream car, M4, 2 weeks after I turned 18. And yeah, it's very crazy. It's very surreal. But I just kind of wanted to make this video to not necessarily flex on you guys, but to show you guys that it's possible. And I'm living proof that it's possible, that you guys are capable of doing this, because from February 2024 until May of 2025, literally a little bit over a year difference, I was able to completely change my life, change the course of everything for forever. And now I have my own apartment. I have my own dog. I have my own bills. I support my own family. I pay for my own shit. I travel the world, and I really do whatever the fuck I want. So I'm living proof that it's possible. I'm only 18 years old, guys. And if I can do it, why the fuck can you not do it? So if you watched this far, I really do appreciate it. It really does mean the world to me. And yeah, thank you guys so much. Stay blessed. Stay safe. Let's keep on killing it, guys.